Hey everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth with Stahls, and welcome to our Friday edition of our Heat Press for Profit Live. I'm so excited that you all have joined us today. Please make sure you shout out who you are and where you're watching from. And this is an interactive show. So if you're watching us live, the video edition, whether that's on Facebook or YouTube channel or LinkedIn, make sure you talk to us live and ask your questions. We'll get them answered. If you're listening, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you make some time to join our Heat Press for Profit Facebook group so you can watch live every Friday at noon Eastern time. And we have a topic that I'm so excited about today. If you haven't noticed, my background's a little bit different than usual because we are here at the Verticals Community Learning Center, and I'm joined by William James, the founder and the president of Team Humanity Sports and many other businesses that we're going to get into. So welcome to the show, Will.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you and all of these special guests out there. I've watched this show myself, so it's a little special being on it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so excited. Will and I are in the same county, the same community, so we've worked together a bit in the past, and he's doing some really exciting things that I think will translate and get a lot of you as apparel decorators or entrepreneurs excited. But before we get into all that, Will, just talk to us a little bit about your journey through life. I know you have a pretty exciting history. You've played in a major sports league, right?
Yes.
And so tell our viewing audience a little bit about your history.
I was blessed to be able to go to the NFL, play in the NFL for a decade. Played for the New York Giants, played for the Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, some 49ers, retired with the 49ers. So I touch a few parts of the country. And I started in college with the University of Michigan. I won't leave them out, the alma mater there. But yeah, football allowed me to, I guess, to transition into our conversation of today. I swear I fell in love with maybe sportswear, and just the swag that we have on the field as I play cornerback. The swag is a big part of that position, and my NFL background kind of led me to my journey where we're at today.
Awesome. And in this world of swag or merch or apparel decoration, at what point in history did you get involved, and what was your first go at entrepreneurship through apparel?
I went to FIT in New York City, right? Fashion Institute Technology. And the reason why I wanted to go to FIT was because my mother was a regional manager at Gabe's. Gable Brothers is from our area, right? The Fayette County area produced the first Gable Brothers. And my mother, like I said, she was a regional manager. And so when I got to the NFL and I was in New York City, I was like, you know what? I want to get into fashion. So I jumped in and I had some great mentors at the time, and that allowed me to get into the FIT school. And then I decided to start my own brand from that point. So I tinkered with some things while I was still playing. Like I said, I would travel back and forth to China, have samples made. I made a couple collections, collabed with some great designers. And so I started my process of putting out a product to be sold then. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the brand at that time?
The brand at that time was Bill Willie. It was Bill Willie International, and Bill Willie still exists. It's very high-end luxury garments. The first collection that we made is in Sport Vogue, UMO Vogue, with a number of celebrities, I guess you would, wearing our product.
Awesome.
And we made those garments excuse me, in New York City, and we made 5 hoodies. They was all reversible, and they stood for principles. Each one stood for a principle, and it was a principle that Bill Willie would spread around the world. It was like an education curriculum, and the principles were open-mindedness, awareness, truth, motivation, and perseverance.
Nice.
And so on one side of the hoodie, we graphically displayed the principle, and on the other side of the hoodie, it was a very clean refined piece that you might be able to wear. Like one we had a linen, right? It was a very light linen that you would wear on a yacht, right? Uh, 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 Off the coast of New York or something. And then on the other side was the principle that you might wear to the club that evening, right?
Nice.
That was the idea.
Nice. So you were into like that, I guess we call it now the athleisure category, stuff you can wear into the business and then after hours in the same piece. And so,
yes, most certainly. And I get teased a lot from the designers that are still designing in New York City that I came up with athleisure.
okay.
Right? At the time, the collection, my first, that was a capsule collection that just talked about the brand, the hoodies, but the full collection, it was actually called at the time Af Luxury.
Okay.
Right. And this is before athleisure. This is like 2005, 2006. And the idea was, and somebody can probably take this and still run with it. The idea was we would use contemporary like gala wear, right? But make it in a way where it was like a Bruce Wayne meets Jesse Owens or something, where you could go to the track and run, but you could be up in the penthouse at the, and jump off the ceiling, and jump off the roof and climb down the rope. And then, your fabric is stretchy. We have I think French terry was one of the major fabrics that we used for that collection, but it was that play on athleisure.
Awesome. Ath luxury. So there's a new one. I'm going to use that term in the future. So, just to dive a little bit deeper, because even from your inception of that first clothing brand with those 5 principles, I think something that's been consistent, at least from what I've observed throughout your journey, the products you create, the businesses you start have always been about purpose.
Yes.
Over profit.
Yes.
And so that purpose element is something we want to dive deep in today. But before we get there and really how apparel decorators can be inspired on how you're making a difference here in this local community, with youth through purpose and helping to really magnify a lot of what they believe in and what they see as challenges. Walk through the team humanity side of the business, because that was really your next progression, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so what is, briefly team humanity and how has that evolved over the past decade?
So with the hoodies that I first created, they were priced at $3,500. Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
we had them in Fred Siegel. Actually, we had them in Ron Herman Fred Siegel, which is the higher level. Anybody that shops like that knows that that's the higher level. Then we had them in Arrive Miami. We had them in the highest end stores.
Okay.
Right? And like Chris Brown, Kanye, these guys were pictured wearing our hoodies. Bill Willie was this guy that you would never see. But I remember I had a mentor who was the president of licensing for Van Heusen at the time. And I went and seen him and I told him what I created and check these hoodies out. And amazing. He's like, the product was amazing. He was just saying like, wow, this is amazing. But he said, when you first came to me and when we talked about what you wanted to create, you said you wanted to create something to touch all of humanity. He said, but humanity can't touch this because it's $3,200, right?
Right.
And then the people that do buy it don't care about the message as much. They just want to say that, look, I can spend $3,200 and you can't, right? And so it was like, wow, I thought I had what I wanted. I thought I had hit the mark that I wanted, but it made me have to go back to the drawing board. And so from that point, I wanted to convey that same message, but at a more accessible price, right? And so from Bill Willie 5 Principles came Team Humanity. Okay. And so Team Humanity is like the, you have your Ralph Lauren purple label, right? But then you have Ralph Lauren, right? So Team Humanity, you can access Ralph Lauren through just the regular Ralph Lauren. But if you really want to experience, right, go to the purple label. With our company, Bill Willie, you can access our ethos and our culture through Team Humanity. But the highest of the height is when you get into the breakdown of the principles and those kind of things.
Awesome. And so right now, Will runs Team Humanity and Team Humanity Sports. But the place we're sitting in today not only houses a bit of Team Humanity, but is Vertical's Community Learning Center. And I want to dive deep here because something that you've done when you returned back to your hometown, right, is really wanted to make an impact through youth. And you kind of have woven apparel decoration as well as a lot of other learnings and technologies and access for youth into this learning center. So talk a little bit about the learning center, what a day in the life looks like here. And then I want to go a little bit deeper into the apparel decoration side and one of the big programs that you're currently running right now after that.
Okay. The Verticals Community Learning Center came out of Team Humanity's work through apparel decoration. Okay. So when I decided to come back and when I retired in 2011. I came back here at the end of 2011 and began work that you see now, 2013. Had to get set up, had to get buildings, etc. But we were always working the Team Humanity brand and selling products and making products and putting out positive messaging that would corral the community, putting out messaging about unity or just positive mind over matter, kinds of brand messaging. And we'll take the money, do something positive in the community. And then we got to a year where we said, let's do something big, right? That's really going to make a difference for years to come. And then that's where Vertical's Community Learning Center came from. And so then we turned all of our attention that we were doing in the community from all of our, we were in the mall for a minute. Team Humanity was in the mall. Then we decided to go online and we was using all of those resources and funds. And I dipped into my pocket as well. And in 2019, when we had a little bit of time, we used that time to then create what you see here, which is a community learning center, after school programs. We do robotics here. We do 3D printing here. We teach kids about financial literacy, the future of financial literacy. We have a library here. We have a turf room here. We have a gym here. And then the Team Humanity brand, the Team Humanity Sports and Apparel brand that we have lives in our print shop. Okay. And so out of that print shop, we still are pumping Team Humanity, right? Still pumping Team Humanity. But back there, we employ kids, right, to help us develop from graphic design to the actual making of the garment to the packaging of the garment. And then they also get to see the financial everyday piece of that. And that's enclosed in the Verticals Community Learning Center as well. So it's a I like to think of it as a holistic approach, right, to uplifting your community and also being sustainable, right? As a lot of us want to do good, but we don't know how to do it in a sustainable way. The print shop piece and the Team Humanity brand piece has allowed us our doing good to continue.
Awesome. So you're utilizing the Team Humanity piece to be able to, in addition to having the nonprofit status and some support from community and people who believe in it, but to really fund the place and keep the lights on and make sure that it's something that continues into the future.
Without that heating press, lights, it'd be tough to keep the lights on here.
Yeah. And so, I want to try to connect this because we have a lot of viewers that will watch this episode, whether they are watching live or listening, that are entrepreneurs in their own community. Some of them are working out of their home. Some of them have dedicated print shops that they've been running and like really crystallize for those of them watching, like how they can really maybe start a program or create a change through apparel decoration in their community. And I think there's no better way to attach to that than I've seen than your T-shirts for social change program you guys have been running. I know we have some samples we're going to show, which is going to, for those watching live, you'll get to see some of these concepts that kids have come up with. But give us the 10,000 foot view of T-shirts for social change. I think it's on its second year now, correct?
That's correct. It's a program that we started last year, and the feedback and the interest in that program took off immediately, and we knew that, okay, this was something that we work a lot with the carrot mentality here. We give the kids what they want, but embed what we know that they need in that package. And so that is what T-shirts for social change has turned into, because they come in and they want to make a garment, right? Something cool.
Yeah.
We always give them the analogy of, we are the record label, like we're Death Row,
Okay.
right? Team Humanity is Death Row, and they are the Snoop,
the artist,
Tupac, and Dr. Dre, right? And their job is to come here and make a hit, right? They got to make hits, and so their ingredients is a social issue, they could take, but they got to make it, even though it's a social issue that might be something that is hard to listen to. They got to make a garment that people first want to buy, right? And then we'll listen to the message. So this is all the things that you have to do when you're an entrepreneur, right? You might want to do something, but people don't want it. If the people don't want it, then you're doing bad business, right? So the students actually get a lot from the whole experience, right? It's not just learning how to make a t-shirt. They're learning financial literacy, because we include that piece. They're learning about social issues and how they can impact change. They're learning about the ability to take an idea, whatever that idea might be. It might be building a building. But once you get practice on having an idea manifest into something physical, for you, it starts to reiterate that that's possible. All right. And so that T-shirts for social change program that we do here allows us to do all of that.
Yeah, and there's three components to this program. I had an opportunity last year, and for those of you that are in our Facebook group, you may have seen photos I shared from the event. It was awesome, where the parents of these students, or grandparents, aunts, uncles, whomever, were invited into this learning center and got to see the actual kids present their T-shirt concept. But it wasn't just the T-shirt concept. It was accompanied by a video about the issue that really helped to articulate it well and communicate it. And so the video was a component, the T-shirt was a component, and there was a third component. What was that? The presentation itself?
The presentation itself, yes.
Yeah, so presenting the concept all together as a group. And we're going to show you some of the looks. It is an amazing program. You were able to rally multiple school districts, right?
Yes.
That have busing coming to your facility,
yes,
to bring the kids in to learn. It's a 4 or 5 week program.
Yes.
I know it was a 4-week program, but kids wanted more, so they added an extra week of bonus time. But let's take a look at some of the stuff that was created last year. And so this is a decoration technique. We'll talk a little bit about it. Really doesn't matter, because you have screen printing, right? You have embroidery, you have heat transfer, you have a multidiscipline facility here, so they can bring their vision to life across this T-shirt. And so let's talk about this piece first. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. So it says the struggle is part of the journey. And then it has this is not the end of your story, and has a nice little sleeve decoration on it as well. If I can get to it, there it is, right? With the smiley face for those that are watching. And so what was the issue that was trying to be illustrated in this piece?
So this was done by a school in our local area who a lot of the students had stated that they've watched some of their peers, for lack of better words, commit suicide over the last few years after COVID and during COVID. And so their issue that they wanted to focus on was mental health. And so they decided to go with the long sleeve garment. They wanted to put a messaging on the left chest here, and we did that with screen printing. And then we also wanted to use the colors of mental health awareness, right? Which they did research and found out it was green and white. So they put the ribbon on the back, and they wanted to leave a positive. They wanted it to be a positive message to their peers. And this is not the end of your story. On the front, if we go back to the front, the graphic that they used was a hand-drawn graphic on the iPad that where they scribbled the brain, where all the thoughts that could be going into somebody's brain, and symbolize it that way. And so that was their entry, and they did. I think they came in second
place. All right. And then here's another one, which is on the front. It's direct embroidery. It says the fight is not over, in like a small, very fashion forward left chest print. The garment selection's really nice as well. Good, nice feel. And then on the back is all about facing addiction. And there's some small text there that goes through, I guess, different statements, right?
Yeah. So this group chose addiction, and they chose purple because purple is addiction awareness color. And on the back here, they actually did a video, right? Their video presentation was them, was a young lady in the mirror thinking about all of the ideas that people were putting into her head about why she should use on that particular night. So this is her going through that that mental struggle right there. How they ended their video. And so on the front, they used embroidery. This is a tri-blend tee. It's a light tee, but they chose to use embroidery on the left chest. This tee came in third. We felt like they represented the social issue great, but their T-shirt, they said that it would be third bot out of the three schools.
Yes. All right, yeah. And then before we get to the winner last year, what's really cool is you were able to bring in for this, even expanding it further into the community and helping raise awareness from the community leaders, and bring in some special guests or celebrity judges, right, from the community. I think former athletes, also commissioners, and like lots of people, not only for the judging, but on the day when these students presented these concepts, there were leaders from all over the community coming in to hear these stories, which was awesome.
That's correct. And that's something that we are grateful for here. We've had a number of prominent people look up on our program and see the impact that it's making, but also them lending their I guess celebrity to our program helps us out a lot as well. And it gives the what it did last year, it gave the kids confidence, right, that they're not doing this in vain, and that maybe that they can get some of these issues changed in their community.
Yeah, because these shirts go on sale to the community, right, to support the causes at the end of it. So it's really hitting all the aspects, like you're saying, from understanding what it costs, what we can sell it for, launching it online. And so you're hitting all those business elements, but we're bringing awareness. All right, let's get to the winner. All right, this one's a pretty sweet one as well. I'm glad the winner utilized the Stahls product too. So selfishly.
To the fullest.
Yeah, so talk about this one, and I'll share the back here in a moment.
This one, the students decided to focus on diversity, okay? And so on the front, you see us being different, right? And that was screen printed. You could see there's some texture, some design detail to that text there. And then the left chest, it was a DTF print, Ultra Color Max that we got from Stahls, Transfer Express. Over here on the back, it says, so us being different on the front, together on the back. And then they did a hand-drawn on the iPad, hand-drawn tree with colors of different hands all together. Down the sleeve, they took it up another notch and put people of all different ethnicities and different backgrounds. People with alopecia, one was to represent a person in a wheelchair. Another was a Native American, and so they felt like diversity, it was something that was lacking in their school, and that one came in first place. And so it was able to spread more from just them winning and bring the issue to the forefront. And so that's one thing that is not one of those X's and O's that where we win and we lose. But once the kids take hold of these messaging, these messages, and they make a T, it kind of spreads in different circles in the school as well, and it has an impact, right? This year's issues that were chosen, it's always something that's important, and they get adamant about it. There's deep discussions about what are we going to focus on and why. But I really like this year's messaging, and I think it's going to be cool when it comes out.
Yeah. And so we're looking forward to that as well. And just to your point, the diversity shirt won last year, and I think that's part of the fun part of this program. You're bringing different types of kids, and I think you said it to me last year, who may normally not have a conversation together, right? And not only are they having a conversation, but they're working on a project with an outcome, with debate, right? And learning how to appreciate each other in the process to a good conclusion. So I love this program. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure we brought Will on today, not only to talk about his success with his apparel brands through the years, but more importantly, how an apparel decorator and somebody in a community is impacting change through programs like this. And so for those that may be watching, it's like, wow, this would be really cool. I wish I could do this in my community. Where do I start? Like, obviously not everybody's going to go out and build a facility, but any tips for engaging with the districts, for kind of rallying support for somebody being able to walk into maybe just a single district and be able to make an impact or something like this?
Yes, I will say this. I'll say that this was our second year being a nonprofit, right? So we're not very familiar with the nonprofit sector. But even as a for-profit, before we did our nonprofit, which a lot of you probably are, just for-profit screen printing, right? Apparel decorators. We still, before we were a nonprofit, we still had a relationship with our school district because we had reached out and wanted to help our students with workforce development. Okay. Right now, across America, I'm not sure where everybody's listening from, but we are suffering from lack of workforce development, right? And so that's one of the key words. And if you can develop a program, which we all can, when we're talking about taking an idea and making it into a product that they can see then online, we're all able to do that. It's just about how much time do you have. And like I said, this program takes 4 to 6 weeks. They're visiting one time a week. But if you develop a relationship first with the school district, you would like to have high school kids, right? 9th through 12th graders, and just letting them see that this heat pressing, apparel decoration could pay the bills for them. Right. They could create brands. We all know that in our line of business, every business that's starting up needs some sort of apparel, right? So at some point, they're going to have to deal with these numbers. They're going to have to deal with ordering garments for themselves or for their business, or they might be the actual decorator. But I'd say that the first thing is to reach out to your school district, tell them that you want to get involved in helping with the workforce development in your area. And I think that conversation with the superintendent or a principal will go a long way.
Yeah, and I'll say what's really exciting about this for an apparel decorator, many of you have told us, yes, it's tough to find qualified employees.
Yes.
And so by getting upfront in this process at the high school level,
yes,
you are developing this workforce to understand the processes that you're executing in your business. And so it's just like you're employing kids after school to run the team humanity side of the business, which is apparel decoration. You're developing these kids, and some of them could potentially be your best employees in the future. So that's definitely an advantage for you to jump in and kind of give back in this way.
I want to add to that. Our current employees, right? Our 3 current employees were all developed through our after-school summertime employment program that we've done over the years. One's been with us for 8 years, another's been with us for 3 years, and another's been with us for 2 years. But every year, when we do, sometimes we have more time in the summertime to do programs where we'll have kids come in maybe just one time to see if they like certain things. Those kids that come through this program, you'll end up, for us, it worked out that way. But for many of you, you'll end up finding somebody that's like, okay, wow, this kid has, the ability to pay attention to detail. This kid has the ability to show up on time. This kid has the ability, and you have that and you can be able to include them in the workforce.
Yeah, and I love it. And like the thing I want to stress is you don't have to have a facility. Like high schools hold career days. They are always looking for speakers on subjects and events. There are probably facilities like this in your community that you can go in and teach at, right? And so just bringing your expertise and your skill level into those environments that already exist is a great opportunity to get attached. Now, before we get too far away, I know I got like 5 more shirts hanging on this rack that I want to make sure I can get in front of the camera. These weren't entrants from last year, but these were things that were worked on over the summer, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so these are some really cool concepts that we're going to hold up and explain. Let's start with the back of this one.
Okay.
So this one says, education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world.
Right.
Right. And so that's a Pretty cool design, pretty cool outline. This is probably screen printing, could easily be a screen printed transfer, single color design. We have this one, which
just the front.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites, where you can see it's
addressing poverty.
Yeah, addressing poverty here. We have potentially unhoused sitting there on a bench with a help sign. So I thought that was really nice design.
You did some work. You guys do some good work out in California, right?
Yeah, recently. That was fun. So one of the things, there's a group called the Ink Kitchen that holds like shop talks and like just host conversations with one of the major trade shows we travel around with, which is Impressions.
Okay.
And Rick from the Ink Kitchen was actually able to rally a bunch of us, Stahls, Sanmar, a lot of other companies, because we go to Long Beach every year, and the unhoused community in Long Beach is like off the charts, right? And growing. And so we were able to go into that community. They were printing posters that we were selling at the show with all the money going to a cause out there, where we were actually able to meet that company, travel around with him on the streets of Long Beach, really see the impact that they're making and give back. And so we did that in Long Beach for the unhoused community, and just in Atlantic City, we did it for basically a women's recovery center, right? Which was an issue there. Right? And so I'll grab that shirt. It's a nice transition. But we're trying to do that in all the communities we travel into. It's if you're an apparel vendor that's watching, or maybe even a Stahls competitor that's watching, it doesn't matter. We can all come together around these issues when we travel into these areas to make a difference. And so this is a shirt here on Stop the War on Women. This stuff's all hand drawn, right? Before it comes to life.
Right. There's a young lady that hand drew this on the iPad, right? Which is the technology piece, right? Teaching them that how easy this is now. Now, back in the day, somebody was drawing by hand, scanning in. Yeah,
yeah, that's really cool. And what's interesting, just to tie it off to heat transfers, is you can take a drawing, you can upload it to the Transfer Express designer, and we can come back with a proof and make that into a transfer. So it doesn't have to be just limited to people who understand Corel Draw or Illustrator or Design on Our Designer. Yeah. Like, you can literally take a concept, from a preschooler's crayon drawing, and you can bring it to life and into a transfer. So there's nothing that isn't possible.
Yeah.
This one's a cool one as well. So it has no planet B. So nice little play on words there. And, a little bit of humor there, where's the margarita from the polar bear standing on presumably the melting glacier or something. And so it's all about global warming, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And this one's cool as well. Just a very simplistic print. Just says, I love you more than yesterday on a front left chest.
I love you more today than yesterday.
I love you more today than yesterday. Yeah. Thank you. So lots of concepts. It's interesting what can happen when you engage people, when you give them a platform, when you encourage them and allow them to be themselves. And I think that's part of the story here, is whether it's the youth in your community, whether it's even the employees that you have in your business today, just understanding the causes, their purpose, what's important to them, making some decisions about what's important to your business, being a little bit bigger than just the bottom line, and striving to have an impact in whatever area. To me, that's the biggest takeaway for anybody watching today. Belinda does have a question, so I'll make sure we shout out some of our viewers as we're wrapping up. She's liking the topic, says it's interesting. Danielle loves the designs on the hands, presumably from the diversity tee that we showed. Carol's watching on YouTube, says, what an awesome idea from America's youth. And lots of good feedback. Love hearing this, making a difference in our communities. And Belinda has a question. Do you teach the business side as well when you're bringing these kids through?
Yes, that's a great question. And we love the idea of bringing in different pieces to help teach the business side. And so with this particular program, we have a Northwestern Mutual Bank that comes in. And on the 25th of this month, the students will go through the business, the wholesale price, the profit and loss, the labor costs. And so they can see the inner workings of what it looks like to start your own business on the back end. And then they can apply it to whatever business that they want to start. And then we'll also use that day with the financial literacy piece to talk about the new digital currency, right? Just so that they are not thrown out here to the streets and nobody knows anything. But we always try to tie in a business piece, and then also politics. We'll try to like this year, one of our judges may be a judge, right, running for judge. And last year we had a commissioner, and so they bring a different side of the community in, so that the kids could be familiarized with that too, not just the business side, but the social impact side as well.
Awesome. So we have a few more minutes together. So if you're watching live and you want to ask a question of myself or Will, please feel free to fire that in. Before we wrap up today, I would just ask you, like, you're always dreaming up the next thing. So if you're able to share, like, what's next?
It's we have really big news, really big news. I've been I think I stay off of social media when we have really big news, and so it doesn't slip. But I think it is going to be a game changer for the area that we're in. We are actually located in a very small town called Brownsville. It's like 1.1 square miles in a county that is one of the poorest counties in Pennsylvania. So programs like ours are much needed. But our next move here, we've done a ton of gardens, right? We got a greenhouse coming. I'll be able to share that. We are expanding. I'll say that.
Awesome.
Right? We're expanding, and I think it's going to be the thing that we do next is going to be big for our community, but the county at large. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So moving beyond just the local community, staying here, being bigger than ever here in the local community of Brownsville, but moving it out countywide, and who knows where you'll go from there.
Yes.
Right. And so we're excited for your success and happy that Stahls could play a small part in supporting you along the way. I know the Heat Press has been a good thing for you, right?
We're just using it.
Yeah.
Excited.
Awesome. So we got some thank yous. Well, we appreciate all of you watching. Again, this has been the Heat Press for Profit live or podcast, depending on whether you're watching or listening. Make sure you subscribe to whatever channel you're on so you can get this content every week. We bring entrepreneurs to share business ideas. We bring different business leaders in to share with you, all with the hope of inspiring you to be able to grow your reach, grow your business. So thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you today. We're signing off for now, and we'll catch you all next time.